For the last 5 days, I have been pulling clauses out of real documents, a tenancy addendum, an insurance policy, 2 federal rules, and checking every quote against the page it came from. 24 clauses in total. Today, I want to test the thing almost everybody actually does instead, which is open the document, hit Ctrl-F, and type the word they care about. So I ran that test properly on clauses where I already knew the right answer, and I set it up so it could embarrass me. It did. Here is the setup. 24 clauses for documents, all public, all blank forms, nobody's real paperwork, and 2 rules that stop this being a rigged demonstration. First, the search word comes from the question I asked that day, never from the sentence that answered it, because picking the word out of the answer would score 100% and prove absolutely nothing. Second, the matcher behaves like a real browser, plain substring. That cuts both ways, and I will show you exactly where it cut against me. Not well. These are 24 clauses I had already pulled out of 4 real documents, every one checked against the page it came from. For each, I typed the single most obvious word, the one you would type before reading anything. Then I asked where the answer sits in the hit list. Median position, number 8. In a flood policy, searching flood gives 158 hits, and the sentence that defines what is actually covered is number 115. Because 9 times out of 24, the word is not in the sentence at all. The rule about confirming and writing never uses the word writing. It says written, and the word writing appears 0 times in the whole document. The clause about investigating does not say investigate, it says determine. Waive does not match waiving, and searching void takes you to avoidance, while the clause that actually voids your policy says concealed or misrepresented. Ctrl-F answers one question. Where does this string of letters appear? It cannot answer what am I required to do, because that sentence is written in the drafter's vocabulary, not yours. To reach all 24 answers by searching, you would read 348 hits. So do the opposite. Ask the whole document a plain question, then make it show you the page, and go read that page yourself. That is not legal advice, it is just how these documents are built. Let me be specific about Rule 2, because it is where this test could have been fudged. A real browser matches a plain run of letters. So when you search Sue, it stops on issue. When you search void, it stops on avoidance. Those junk hits are not a flaw in my measurement. They are the measurement, because they are hits a human being has to look at and reject one by one. But the same rule works against me in the other direction. Waive does not match waiving. So a document that happens to write waiving is a document that search simply cannot reach with the word waive. I could have written a cleverer matcher that fixed both. If I had, the numbers would have looked better and meant less. The median answer still sat at hit number 8. And this is the actual lesson, which is not that search is broken. Search works perfectly. It answers the question, where does this string of letters appear? And it answers it flawlessly every single time. The problem is that this is not the question you have. Your question is, what am I required to do and by when? And the sentence that answers it was written in the drafter's vocabulary, not yours. They wrote written, you typed writing. They wrote determine, you typed investigate. Nobody is hiding anything. The words simply do not line up, and no amount of searching harder fixes a vocabulary mismatch. Now, is there a better word to search for? Partly. I checked whether these clauses share the structural vocabulary that legal drafting cannot avoid. Shall, must, may not, within, unless, days. 20 of the 24 contain at least one of them, which is a much better hit rate than any topic word managed. But before you write that down as the trick, those words are common precisely because drafters cannot avoid them. So searching days in a document full of deadlines returns a wall of results. Structural words predict where a clause is. They do not narrow down which one you want. That is honestly the ceiling of what searching can do for you here. So here's what I would actually do instead. Ask the document a plain question in your own words, and let something read all of it rather than jumping to one string. Then demand the page number every time. And then, this is the part that is not optional. Go and read that page yourself. The point of the citation is not that it makes the answer sound credible. It is that it is checkable, and a claim you can check in 10 seconds is a completely different object from a claim you cannot. One last thing, because it is the thread running through this entire week. Every number in this video came out of a script that re-verified all 24 quotes against their PDFs before it was allowed to write anything down. And on an earlier day, that same check caught me writing a clause from memory that the document did not contain. That is not me being careful for the sake of it. It is that a confident sentence with a page number attached is the easiest thing in the world to produce, and the second easiest thing in the world to check. And the entire difference between those two states is whether anyone actually looks. Ctrl-F cannot do that for you. Neither can I. Everything here is what 4 public forms say on the pages shown, and for anything you are actually signing, ask someone qualified. One of these every day, on the paperwork nobody enjoys. Subscribe if that's useful to you.